Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Jamal Kindi from Predator Rightness, and today we're going to be continuing to talk about offshore drilling rigs. In the first part we talked about bottom supported rigs. Today we're going to be discussing, or we're going to be talking about floating rigs. Before we get started, we need to build some key concepts and knowledge about how floating rigs work. So without further ado, without further ado. Anyhow, let's get started. The most important thing you need to maintain during drilling or production in a floating rig is the position of the vessel. You need to fix three things: your coordinates, your rotation, and your height. For rotation and coordinates, you use something called DPS, which is not damage per second for all you gaming engineers out there, but it's an abbreviation for Dynamic Positioning System, which is a computerized system that helps maintain the position and rotation of a vessel using thrusters and propulsion units. Of course, these thrusters and propulsion units are used to maintain the position against winds, against storms, against waves. And when I talk about waves, I don't just mean the shallow water waves, I'm also talking about the deep water waves. There are emergency procedures in case of a heavy storm or a tsunami. Obviously you can maintain the location of the rig if there is a tsunami, but we'll talk more about that later in a separate video. The other thing you need to maintain is your height. Well, not your height, that you cannot change, unfortunately, but you can maintain it. But we're not talking about your height, we're talking about the height of the rig in relation to the ocean floor. For that you use pontoons. Pontoons are designed to be partially submerged within the seawater to maintain the height, or just to control the height of the vessel. The more you fill it, the more you'll sink the rig. You don't want to fill the whole pontoon, and also you don't want to just make it empty, because it will just fall down. And of course, pontoons are run with a computerized system that helps account for waves, tides, winds, and anything that might affect the rig. So imagine if a wave passes through the rig, causing the height of the rig relative to the seafloor to go up, then the pontoon will be filled with water just a little bit more to maintain the height. So decrease the height to maintain the height. So decrease the height of the rig to maintain the height of the rig, which was raised by the waves, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. Otherwise I'm useless. So again, real quick, wave comes, raises the rig, but no, the pontoon is here. The pontoon, where you increase water, the rig comes down, you maintain the height, and everybody lives happily ever after. So DPS is used to maintain the coordinates and the rotation, and pontoons are used to maintain the height of the rig relative to the seafloor. Now let's talk about the floating rigs. The first one is the drill ship, which is basically a maritime vessel that is modified to include a drilling rig. It remains stationary either by anchors or by Dynamic Positioning System, or DPS, or it can be a combination of the two as well. And then we have the semi-submersible rigs. These rigs are supported on a large pontoon-like structure, which helps maintain the height. Semi-submersible rigs have more superior motion characteristics because of these pontoons, because a large portion of the rig is submerged under the water, and these rigs also are usually anchored with 6 to 12 anchors. I meant for this video to be a little bit shorter because there are a lot of concepts that need clarification. I hope they are clear now. If they're not, please let me know in the comments. I'll try my best to clarify them. There is one last thing you need to know if you want to research more about offshore drilling rigs. All of the rigs that I mentioned, the offshore drilling rigs I mean, are considered mobile offshore drilling units. The only exception is the fixed platform, because from its name it's a fixed platform. And when I say all of them, I mean jackup rigs, barges, and the two that I mentioned this video, which are drill ships and semi-submersible rigs. We finally covered all of, well, not all of the rigs, but the main types of rigs. There are a lot of other types, but you don't need to get into them, and of course neither do I. As usual, please do share this video with your friends if you found it useful. Subscribe to the channel for every now and then petroleum videos. Like this video if you liked it, comment what you didn't like about it if you didn't, and I will see you, or you will see me guys, in the next one. Hayakum. Having pontoons really improves the motion characteristics. More superior motion characteristics. Damn it! Why is this hard? Characteristics. Character. Enemy character. Characteristics. Okay. I'm sorry, Mike. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Ah, come on.